Free Jose Ferrer Garcia now and the rest of the political prisoners in Cuba. We want them free, including those political prisoners in Venezuela, Nicaragua, North Korea, and China. Good morning, fellow patriots. Here I am once again to inform on what's happening. I keep requesting for the freedom of this hero who's denouncing the communist regime of Cuba. And all the rest of those political prisoners that are also in prison, even though they're innocent, just for denouncing the crisis and the corruption, expressing themselves, the freedom of expression, that's all. That's all is to it. Before I start, I'm gonna, like always, just show this advertisement for a friend of mine in here in Mayagüez, Puerto Rico. He's selling these electric generators, which run on batteries, not gasoline. They're battery operated with solar plaque. So some of them don't last. The one the cheapest one doesn't last too long. Then comes the other one that's a little bit better, but then there's the big one, which costs quite a bit. And that one it'll work like 3 days on the battery, and combination with battery and solar plaque. This is a lot better than dealing with gasoline operated generators. You don't have to deal with contamination, no leaking. Not afraid that it'll choke on you when you're trying to use the choke to turn it on. It's more effective. These battery operated equipment is coming to the point where it's a lot better choice. It's more range. A couple of my like I said, I have a trimmer that works on battery. I have a drill that works as battery operated, which is by Rigid. Very good quality equipment. And then I got a lawnmower, which is powered by a battery. It's not a gasoline. It's electric. So I recommend it because they're pretty good. The mower doesn't make much noise. You could basically talk with somebody, but then if you with a gasoline operated lawnmower, it's hard to speak because the noise won't let you can't hear or barely hear. Basically, you have to turn it off sometimes, and then you have to be dealing with the yo-yo, operating it by just with this handle to turn it on, and sometimes it'll just choke on. It won't operate because it's inundated by gasoline, and when you're trying to turn it on, and it's really a headache. And for those who, like me, are suffering from the arm joints, it's a lot better. It's a lot better. You don't have to deal with what they call the yo-yo. I don't know if they say it in the States. They call it the same way, but here it's a yo-yo that you have to be pulling on it, and it's just a little bit troublesome for a person like me who has health problems. Well, let me go with the news. I'm done with the advertisement. It's for a friend of mine who has a shop in Mayagüez, in the mall of Mayagüez, and he's selling these equipment plus other types of battery operated equipment like an ice cooler. And it seems like it's very good for those who like to go a lot to the beaches. It's a better alternative than the regular type of a cooler where you have to buy ice. The equipment that he sells operates by battery. Okay, well, let me go with the news. I think I did something here. Okay, I'm okay. Like I always do, I start off with Islam. What's happening in the world of Islam? Yesterday was a disaster for me because yesterday, for some reason, these phones, if you touch it, they're so sensible that if you touch it without even going to the area where you want to mute it. Yesterday, the videos were completely mute. And it wasn't that I purposely went and had it mute, the sound turned off. It's just that by some reason or another, by just touching it, putting it in my pocket, or putting it in this here to cover it. Well, for some reason, it hit something that it just automatically, boom, left me without a sound. So I couldn't put videos. Well, let's see what happens today, because I was just checking out the sound to make sure before I went on air. It says here, this comes from France. Traditionalist Muslim. Listen to this. Beats his wife and daughter for refusing to wear hijab. These people are terrible, terrible. Women are basically how you call it, like having a statue in the house. That's all, You're gonna obey me. You're gonna do what I tell you. They basically have no rights, no rights. And it depends on the country. Some of them are so strict to the point where they can even shoot you. They can execute you right there on the spot because you don't have a permission from your husband to leave the house. In other words, they have less rights than a dog. So they're treated worse than a dog because a dog, you can loosen it up and you can roam around and you could throw him something to eat and it'll eat. But the women there, you can't roam around unless you got a permission from your husband. And, some of them are least strict, and they'll whip you. It just don't make any sense. They'll whip a woman like it's no big deal, right? But still, I'm talking about lashes like 70-something or 200. They'll probably kill you by lashes, or stone you to death, or hang you. Or like one woman I saw that they just took her out and executed her. These videos, you can't show them anymore on YouTube because they'll censor it, even though it's the truth, even though you should know the truth. And then in New Jersey, to add wounds to your feelings. I don't know what the hell's happening in New Jersey. They swear in a police chief who's a Muslim, and by the Quran. What the hell is happening in this country? That should be stopped. This is not Islam. This is not a Jersey stand. This was in New Jersey. What the hell? The people are, you got liberals that are so stupid that they'll vote and they're peaceful. I guess they're not going to realize it when it's too late, when they start beating them, grabbing them from the street, these especially women, and beating them. Or because you're carrying a Bible, cutting off your hands. Or maybe even shooting you. And then they'll go to court and say, no, I'm innocent because this is under Islam. Plus, we have Sharia law now. So that has to be obeyed, and we're offended. And then you can't say a word because you voted for that. Stupid city of New Jersey. Keep voting liberal. Keep voting, now communist. There used to be Democrat Party. Keep voting communist. This is Nigeria. Biafran leader calls on International Criminal Court to take action against jihad, killing of Christians. It's coming to the point where people are, complaining, but, it's the own people's fault of the nation of Nigeria. Stop letting them in. Get them out of the country. Close down their mosque. Well, they complain, but it's nothing is done. They keep killing them and keep abusing the system. I'm informing here, but really, it's sometimes I get a feeling I'm wasting my time because they keep letting them in. It's like what's happening in England, and I hope this new minister, this prime minister, changes things in England, because it's gotten to the point where you have to get them out of the country. Then you have these other countries letting them in, and letting them get away with murder and all kinds of violations. And it's okay. In Germany, with this Merkel, this dumb lady, this is from the Religion of Peace. It comes from India. As rioters scream, Allahu Akbar, Muslim mob kills Hindu man for Jai Shri Ram sticker on his motorbike. Just because he has a sticker praising his religion, his faith, Hindu faith, they killed the guy. We should kill them back. I don't care if they censor me. I got to say this because this is just, there's no way out of it. You can't deal with this plague, with this Islamic plague. Kill them. Get them out of the country or kill them. Carry a gun, be armed. And when they come near you, you don't give them a chance. Blah, blah, blah. That's it. Go to court and say, hey, I'm innocent. They were coming after me. I feared for my life, so I had to shoot. I had to kill all of them. What are we going to do? We're going to stick our finger up our mouth and chew our thumb? Janine Pirro said it. We have to kill them. How other way you can deal with this type of people? There's no way. You can't have a dialogue on the table because they keep imposing their will on us. You see what happened with New Jersey. I guess I'm wasting my time. I really figure out I'm wasting my time. These people are going to use the laws against us, and they're gaining on us. Why? Because we're letting them. I remember a cartoon on Russia where they said, I remember this some kind of like, I think it was a cartoon. I'm not sure, but I remember it's like an American soldier say, why don't they, I don't know if they had to deal with Muslims attacking or something. I know that it was like a soldier, an American soldier say to a Russian, why don't they bother you? Or why don't they don't mess with you like they do with us? And the Russian soldier answered back saying, because we don't let them. As simple as that. That's all it is. We don't let them. Why they're killing, why they're murdering, why they're beating people up, why they're stabbing people. Why? Because we're letting them. They don't do it in Russia. With Russia, they know they're going to pay the price, period. They do that in China, they're going to pay the price. It's not that I'm praising communism. It's because why the hell we don't change the laws and we just don't let them, period. Let them in here. Get them out of here. Get them out of here, period. They don't belong in our society. I'm not being racist. What the hell? I'm racist because I'm trying to protect my own people, my own nation. Now we'll go to the regular news in the United States. Milwaukee mass shooter is a black Elizabeth Warren supporter. Listen to this. Milwaukee mass shooter is a black Elizabeth Warren supporter. This is the guy that caused the mass shooting. That's the guy. But you don't hear that. You don't hear that in the news. You have to go to the conservative news to get this news. They won't mention that. The Milwaukee man who killed 5 co-workers at a beer company's corporate office is a Black Elizabeth Warren supporter, providing a clue as to why the mass shooting disappeared from the discussion so quickly. 51-year-old Anthony Farrell showed up at the Miller Coors facility from where he had been fired earlier in the day, wearing his uniform and carrying a silenced gun. He proceeded to gun down 5 colleagues before turning the weapon on himself. Good. Well, at least we got rid of that one. It subsequently emerged that Farrell was an African-American Elizabeth Warren supporter, presuming that Farrell shared the same political belief as his wife, who took a selfie with Warren at a rally last year. Now, and look at this, Elizabeth Warren. I'm devastated for the victims. Well, I'm surprised. And my heart is with their loved ones and all those affected by this tragedy. We shouldn't have to live with this constant horror and grief. She calls for gun restriction, to ban guns, just because of that. The shooter was 51-year-old Anthony Farrell. His wife took selfie. Oh, okay, it's the same news. Keeps repeating it again. Well, I guess the guy snapped. Yeah. Then here's another one. The elites in the party picked the nominee, not the people. Former Obama advisor admits live on MSNBC. The elites in the party picked the nominee, not the people. You heard that? He's complaining. The people are the one that picked these people in the party. It's the party. It's the elite of the party. There's a video here. Let's see how long it lasts.
Hear this more and more, and we'll probably have a better sense, obviously, Tuesday, after the 200 delegates that are up for grabs there are spoken for. But this idea that perhaps Bernie Sanders is moving the goalposts a bit when it comes to the delegates and what could go down at the convention in Milwaukee. What say you to that?
Well, I will say that Bernie is moving the goalposts. This is what people need to remember. The Democratic Party has a party. The party decides its nominee. The public doesn't really decide the nominee. The public gets to vote for President of the United States, but people who are active in the party, who participate in the party, they decide the nominee. Superdelegates are very influential in the party. Also, delegates are very influential. And just because you're a pledged delegate for Bernie Sanders or a pledged delegate for Joe Biden doesn't mean when you get to the convention floor that you'll stay a delegate for Biden or Sanders. That's a process. And so it is a process to pick the candidate who wants to be the standard bearer for the party to try to.
Michael Bloomberg sticking his foot in his mouth again. Give 11 million undocumented migrants a path to citizenship. Staple a green card on every degree. He's just interested in the votes. He's not interested in the immigrants, just the votes. He knows he's going to lose, so he wants the votes desperately. So give illegals the path to citizenship, even though they weren't born here. I got a video here. Let me see what the crap he says.
One of the things in immigration is you got to do some things quickly in immigration. Stop this craziness with 11 million people who are living in the shadow. You've got to give them a clear path to citizenship. You've got to staple a green card.
He just wants to win power. That's all.
When they get out of college, particularly if they're studying STEM, and a whole bunch of these things. And we need more immigrants, not less immigrants.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
The real problem is we shouldn't have 11 million undocumented people with no pathway to citizenship. This White House has divided us around a consensus issue. The American people want a pathway.
I wonder what his husband would say.
Never
waver in our pursuit of guaranteed health care for all Californians.
We're talking about using state Medicaid money, a program called Medi-Cal, to help fund health care for undocumented young adults.
Older undocumented immigrants will not get coverage, and that's left some advocacy groups disappointed.
We do hope ultimately to get to a place to where California can ultimately cover the entire undocumented population.
Oh, yeah.
But certainly we were disappointed not to
And we
see
have to pay
those
for it.
30,000 seniors get covered in this cycle.
Lines stretched out the door, with thousands of undocumented immigrants eagerly applying for a driver's license. Some even camped overnight in near freezing temperatures.
We're waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah.
New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy signed a law as a bill into law. It gives financial aid to illegals.
Not for a state that's bankrupt, and not for a state that has greater priority to spend its money on, and not for a state that is so grossly overtaxed.
Wednesday, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham announced a free college tuition plan that would help all New Mexico students who graduate from high school, including undocumented immigrants.
Undocumented people just really need the opportunities to be able to live like all people.
Oh yeah, right. Like I can go. Let me stop this bullshit because it blows my mind. It's like I can go to Mexico now and request citizenship and a license over there and everything. Everything that a citizen from Mexico has by birth, I can request it. Right? It's just incredible. We're losing the country. We're losing the country because of a lot of sick minds like these Democrats. Let's see what it says in this one. Oh, Dow drops 1,000. Okay, this is according to coronavirus. Dow drops 1,190 points. Worst decline in history. Guggenheim Scott, minute calls. Coronavirus, possibly the worst thing I've ever seen. Let's see what happens. Hope to God and pray to God nothing happens. But with the Communist Party, CPUSA, never know. It's going to get worse because they want to bring in illegals. They want to bring in people from other countries. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about your health. They don't care about your family, your life, or anything. It's all has to do with votes. As long as they can gain power permanently forever, they don't care about you. They don't care about you. I don't say us because we know we're included. But the liberals who think they're going to benefit, it's all a facade. It's all a farce. They're deceiving you. That's what they're doing. Elizabeth Warren again. Coronavirus obsession. Elizabeth Warren to introduce bill to strip border wall money to pay for virus effort. That's what the wall is going to be built for, to avoid people from coming in here illegally from these countries where this virus exists. And then this God help me. I'm going to be sensitive one moment or another. There's no way out of it. This dumb broad from hell. Let me put it that way. I was going to say something worse. She wants the wall stopped, which is going to avoid people from coming in here illegally. She wants to win one way or another. She doesn't care what happens. She doesn't care about you. This dumb broad. The only thing she needs is a broom, a flying broom. Ukraine launches criminal proceeding against Joe Biden over firing of prosecutor Victor Shokin. After leaving office in 2017, former Vice President Joe Biden bragged about strong-arming the government of Ukraine to fire its top prosecutor, Victor Shokin. I hope they arrest this maniac, no matter how senile he's getting. Because they're criminals. These people are criminals. And you know what? They're so criminal, they get away, not only being criminal, they get away with murder, but they sentence an innocent man like, oh God, no, I forgot the name. I'm getting to that point where I'm losing my memory too. This guy that was put in prison, who's innocent. I hope Trump can get him out. Get him out. But you know, they're putting conservatives in prison for a long period of time, even though they're innocent. It's just, and then these people, they get away with it. They get away with it. Hillary's getting away with murder. Bill Clinton also. Pelosi also, her son also, who's also involved in the Ukraine problem. It's getting worse and worse. And nothing is being done. Where's the Department of Justice? It's not working. The system is not working. Unfortunately, it's not working. Roger Stone is the name of the person. He's being innocent, he's in prison, paying for a price of nothing because he didn't do anything. Excuse me with my memory lapse because I'm just having problems. I'm taking some vitamins. I already talked with my personal doctor from the VA. Let's see what's happening because I'm just having a trouble with memory lapse. This is exactly what he wants to say. Okay, listen to this one. Bernie Sanders praises slave owners for free housing program. Can you believe this guy? This communist is the one that was elected to lead the Democrat Party, the candidate for the presidency. Look at this, you know, and then these young kids praising him. Oh, Bernie, feel the burn, Bernie, Bernie. And the guy says Bernie Sanders praises slave owners for free housing program. Can you believe this SOB? This nightmarish satanic figure. There he is. Bernie Sanders, feel the burn. And believe me, are you going to feel it if he wins? Even those that are following are supporting him and rooting for him. Bernie, those people, they're going to suffer just the same way. It doesn't matter. We're all going to go to the level of extreme misery. But like I say, people don't learn. Look what happened to Venezuela. The Cuban people telling them, hey, watch out with Hugo Chavez. He's a communist. And they wouldn't listen. They wouldn't listen. And look what happened to Venezuela. The same thing in Nicaragua. People don't learn. Look what's happening in Spain. They got out of socialism because it was hurting the country, and now they went back to socialism again. People are extremely stupid, and here in the United States, you got a lot of people like that. And the worst thing about it is they're in the millions. Well, let me see if there's a video on Biden. Wait a minute. I mean, on Bernie Sanders. Let me see if there's a video. I want to hear him say that, because if no, there's not a video. I wish there would have been a video where he would say, let me see what he said in a televised interview. Well, at least I got that here. Bernie Sanders has praised slave owners for their free housing program. Hey, this is the Democrat Party. Ever since their creation in the 1800s, these people support slavery. And he's saying it to your face. So blacks who support this evil entity from the pits of hell, better wake up. Whoopi Goldberg kind of like realized that something isn't right there. So she better wake up completely, because she's in the wrong party. She already made an expression against Bernie Sanders. Before it's too late, you better wake up, Whoopi, including all the rest of the panels of The View. In a televised interview, Bernie Sanders has praised slave owners for their free housing program. Can you believe that shit? Can you believe that? And people listen to this animal, this savage animal, this walking plague. Free housing program offered to all slaves working the plantations. How stupid these people are! These people who follow this monster doesn't know it. He's gonna kill them. He's gonna kill a lot of us. He's gonna the same thing like the great Chinese Revolution. Over 60 million died because of the result of implanting communism in the country. The ex-Soviet Union, the same, almost the same. I think it was like 40 million or 50 million. It's going to happen. If you think it's going to be different, you got it all wrong. You're living in the wrong world. You're living in La La Land. Because when they come to power, believe me, there's going to be a lot of death. A lot of death. The cemeteries won't be able to deal with all of it. There'll be so many dead, they'll probably have to burn the bodies and make a pit, a large pit, open pit, and dump bodies in there or burn them, turn them to ashes. And they don't care. They'll do it just like the Nazis do. Just like the Nazis do. These people are evil, and you're not realizing it. You better wake up. You better wake up. And it's going to be worse than what you think. Then what you think is going to be even worse. This guy is evil. This man is evil. He is Satan himself. This guy is evil. Judge turns Hunter Biden's own argument against him, demands he appear in court. Hey, Hunter Biden, I got bad news for you. You better pay up. He doesn't want to pay alimony. Well, let's see what happened with the judge. Let me see those videos. I think there's videos that I had saved up for today. A couple of videos. I just want to put out and see if this doesn't go off on me, because yesterday it also went off. It's turned off. So let me see if let me see if I can get the videos here. Oh, that's a big win for us. This is Don Miller. You can watch it on my blog. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Remember to always put down my name, Eduardo Rodrigo. I can't put it because it lasts like 22 minutes, and I haven't gotten my equipment here so I can let you hear it. But anyway, it lasts too long anyway. It's great. John Miller, Dan Bongino, they're great. Okay, let me see here. Let me see how long this one lasts.
This, to me, is an existential crisis. The green generation has risen up.
You're talking about zero carbon emissions, no use of fossil fuels.
That is the goal.
That's a goal you could only imagine possible if you have no idea how the energy economy works or how energy is produced in this country.
James Meigs, former editor of Popular Mechanics, says the Green New Deal is just not feasible.
Renewable is especially hard because it's so inconsistent.
Because the wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't always shine.
You can't just put in wind turbines and solar panels. You also have to build all this infrastructure to connect them with energy consumers, possibly very far away. And you always need some kind of backup power.
That means many more transmission lines and bigger batteries to store more energy.
You have to mine all these materials for the batteries, and those mines are environmentally hazardous. Disposing of batteries is hazardous. Batteries are a lousy way to store energy.
Physicist Mark Mills says the ingredients to green energy, like battery packs, are anything but green.
You have to consume 100 barrels of oil's worth of energy in China to make that battery pack. But I have to dig up 1,000 pounds of stuff and process it. Digging up is done with oil, by the way, big machines. So we're consuming energy to, quote, save energy. It's not a good path to go.
He calls the so-called new energy economy magical thinking. Wind and solar and batteries now are 10 times better than they were.
And then they stop getting better because they hit physics limits. You have to believe in kind of magical materials to get 10 times better again. In comic books, we have that. I can fly. Tony Stark has that magic power source, can do things that are unimaginable today. But we know that the physics make it impossible to make solar 10 times better again. We should also make sure we're spending money on stuff that really works. And right now, we're doubling down on technologies like wind and solar that have their place, but they're not going to get the job done by themselves. But that's where all the money's going.
Solyndra was granted a $34.5 million subsidy.
Billions in subsidies. But solar still makes up less than 1% of America's energy, and wind just 2%. And none of that energy is really clean.
We use billions of tons of hydrocarbons to make the number of windmills that are already in the world, and we've only just begun to make them at the level people claim they would like to have built. If you pursue a path of wind, solar, and batteries, we increase how much we dig up and move by 100 to 1,000 fold. There's a magical thinking that there's somehow free lunch. If I pick this energy source, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't emit anything. It doesn't consume anything. This is in comic book land. Every energy source of energy, every kind, uses land, uses materials to make the technology, and always uses hydrocarbon along the way.
Of course, we don't see that when we look at, say, wind turbines. They're beautiful, the gleaming blades.
They take enormous amounts of land. You got to clear cut the forest. These machines kill a lot of birds. I agree that we should bring down our carbon emissions. There's the global warming risk. There's also the risk that the oceans become more acidic and start killing off the plankton. But we should also make sure we're spending money on stuff that really works.
Why are we making electric cars?
Are electric cars what really works?
The electric cars are great for the environment.
If we just switch to electric cars, we'd use less fossil fuels.
How do you make electricity?
Coal and natural gas.
Yeah,
fossil fuel.
Yeah, exactly.
Many electric car buyers don't realize that most of America's electricity comes from coal and natural gas. People think they're doing something wonderful buying a Prius.
They're basically burning coal and natural gas from the shale fields.
But electric cars will get a lot better.
Sure they will. I'll make the windmills a little better and they'll get cheaper. Solar arrays will get...
At the Fukushima nuclear power plant.
Safe?
Fukushima helps prove how safe nuclear power really is. No one was killed.
People were killed during the evacuation.
The fear of radiation is what killed people.
They evacuate a lot of older people out of nursing homes and apartments that
Okay,
really
well, I
didn't
want to stop
need to
right
go.
here,
One
but
of
you
the
already
atomic
get the point
reactors at
about
the Chernobyl atomic power plant in the city of Kiev was damaged.
Chernobyl was worse.
We don't truly know exactly how many people died
this
from
lasts too
radiation.
long. I can't. It lasts too long. Like I say, go to my blog. Everything that you're hearing here and what I'm talking about is all in my blog. It's all posted. Let me see this one here. If it's short, I can handle it.
I know that PragerU has these wonderful mini docu-series or documentaries, and they featured you in one about California.
I got it. Let me see what happened. I did here.
I know that PragerU has
okay,
these
this one is
wonderful
short.
mini docu-series or documentaries, and they featured you in one about California. Let's take a look.
California is for the very rich and the very poor. Everything is more expensive. You can't live here in California anymore as a middle-class citizen.
Many of them who were born and raised in this state are realizing that it's become unaffordable, and that's heartbreaking.
I'll tell you, Californians, when they move to Texas, they're shocked. Their standard of living goes up 40 to 50% overnight.
The communist state of California.
You know, it simply is not the state so many people regard as the Golden West.
No, absolutely not. And if you talk to Californians, which I do every single day because I still live here, they'll tell you that most of the people you talk to, the reasonable, average people out there, they didn't vote for these policies and they didn't vote for these people. So they're wondering how we ended up with this. They're wondering how everything that goes through Sacramento seems like a horrible idea. And so we're wondering how we got here. Well, if you want to change the state, you want to return it to its former greatness, you're going to have to change who you voted for. So that's the education process that needs to begin. And maybe it has to get so bad before the pendulum swings.
How's it affecting housing market? Because I'm wondering if so many people are leaving, not as many people moving in. Are people trying to sell houses and they can't do it?
Well, the housing market, our housing prices are still incredibly high, but for those that can't afford our housing prices, there's a lot of wonderful homeless encampments and tent cities for them to pick from. So Hotel California is certainly doing strong, even though the housing market is still high. Housing is still unaffordable, but plenty of tents for people to choose from.
There you go. The communist state of California. That's what you get for voting a socialist. And they still call themselves Democrat Party, but we know they're socialists. And in some extreme cases, like Bernie Sanders, Maxine Waters, and Pelosi, and AOC, we know they're communists. So you keep voting for them, and you're going to see how you're going to wind up. You're going to have to leave if we keep it up, one moment or another, we're going to just have to leave the country, abandon the United States completely. It's going to turn into an Islamic communist regime. Just like in Venezuela. You got Hezbollah in Venezuela. Why? Because the regime, the communist regime needs it because those are the people that are willing to terrorize people by cutting their head off. Keep on voting Democrat. You'll find out what I'm talking about. You won't listen to me, but then you're going to find out in the future. When they start killing members of your own family by decapitating them, or dying of hunger or lack of medication like in communism, you'll see. One moment or another, you'll wake up. Yeah, there's another one I want to. There's so many of them that I want to put up. Let's see how long this one lasts.
Venezuelans are dying in huge amounts. Venezuela was once the richest country in Latin America. It still has the world's biggest oil reserve. But 20 years ago, Venezuelans voted for socialism. They elected Hugo Chavez. Some Americans were excited about
Well,
that.
the Cubans told everybody the guy is communist.
Calling him
A red shirt, completely red shirt. The guy's a communist. Michael Moore. I bet you if he go over there, he'll lose a lot of weight over there in the communist regime. Look at this other piece.
And even today,
God,
Venezuela
Jesus
collapses.
Christ.
Many Americans say, don't blame socialism.
Actually, blaming socialism for Venezuela's riches to rags story is grossly misleading.
Yeah,
Venezuela
right.
is going through an insane political crisis right now. But it's not clear that that crisis has anything to do with their socialist policies.
This popular video, The Collapse of Venezuela Explained, never once mentioned socialism.
Oil prices plummeted in 2014, and Maduro failed to adjust.
Media personalities suggest only conservatives say socialism destroyed Venezuela.
If you follow conservative media at all, you may have seen it frequently painted as the inevitable dire consequences of a
That's
socialist
dumbass.
government.
The problem isn't socialism, says John Oliver.
It's a story about epic mismanagement.
But mismanagement is what happens under socialist governments. It always happens, because no group of central planners is wise enough to manage an entire economy. Even if they have good intentions, the socialists eventually run out of other people's money. The socialist solution then is to print more. That caused massive inflation.
The nation's failed economy is expected to hit 10 million% inflation this year.
When business owners raised prices to keep up with inflation, government often took away their businesses.
Expropriate. Watch.
This man just had his business taken on profit. And even though that led to tyranny in Venezuela and China and Russia, Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, Cuba,
There are plenty of socialist countries that look nothing like Venezuela.
When I talk about democratic socialism, I'm not looking at Venezuela. I'm not looking at Cuba. I'm looking at countries like Denmark and
Liar. He's lying his ass off.
oh yes, those countries do have bigger welfare programs than America does. But they are not socialist. They make a point of saying that. Here's Denmark's prime minister.
Denmark is far from a socialist planned economy. Denmark is a market economy.
Not only that, lately they've reduced government control of their economy. They privatized the national phone system and the railroads, and they sold Copenhagen Airport to a private company. It's the same story in Sweden.
We did have a period in the 1970s and 1980s when we had something that resembled socialism. Big government that taxed and spent heavily. And that's the period in Swedish history when our economy was going south.
So Sweden reduced government's role too. They even instituted school choice. The Scandinavian countries that progressives call socialist successes, not only are they not socialist, they're moving more toward capitalism. The silver lining in Venezuela's collapse is that most Venezuelans who escaped their country's socialism do understand what went wrong. In Florida, reporter Gloria Alvarez asked Venezuelan immigrants,
What do you think about socialism?
That doesn't work.
So no se lo recomendaría a nadie.
It's never going to work. It's never going to work.
Do you think that people, once they get out of Venezuela, do they understand that the problem is socialism?
I think that a great percentage of them do. The problem is the socialist system that they tried to make work, but that has never worked and will never work.
it will never work. As Ludwig von Mises wrote, the champions of socialism promised the Garden of Eden, but planned to transform the world into a gigantic post office. Every man a subordinate clerk. I wish progressives understood that. Since they don't, tragedies like Venezuela will happen again and again.
There you go. Could said it better. And then you got these people like Bernie Sanders keep on lying and lying to the people, and the people believe. And you know what the sad thing about it is? People believe him. Yeah, really. They believe him, and they follow him because he's saying all these lies. Oh, I'm going to pay this. Oh, we're gonna get everything's going to be free. Yeah, but then what's going to be the results? Universities are going to be free, but then when you go to work, you're going to get paid like the average pay maybe $17 a month. A month. Just yesterday, I had a person who was a technician, Cuban, and he told me when he was living in Cuba, his underwears were in holes, and he had broken down shoes. I remember Joanny Sanchez. I don't know if a lot of people maybe remember her. You know, she said once that to graduate, she had to borrow shoes because her shoes were broken down. She couldn't use them. They were no good. And she had to borrow shoes from somebody so she could graduate decently. That's what communism offers you. They'll offer you a shoe once a year. You basically can't even walk with the shoe. You probably have to walk barefoot most of the time, afraid that you might damage the shoe because they're going to wear off one moment or another. That's if you get a pair for 1 year, because in some cases they offer you that, and then they don't guarantee it because it doesn't work. Everything falls apart. There's no production. There's no nothing anymore. They'll expropriate all businesses that produce, that create the jobs, that create prosperity and the booming economy. What happened in China? China couldn't afford to be to stay a communist, pure communist forever. They had to open the free market, but still, with communist oppression, you can't say a word. If you say one word, they catch you saying one word against the regime, you're going to go to prison, maybe shot, maybe never come out alive again. They're even turning to cannibalism, where they're selling human flesh, human meat on the market. You can find that out. Look in the internet. Packages of a foot of a person sold in the food market for food consumption. That's what happened in communism. Life is meaningless. So, you know, I hope my country wakes up. This will be the last of it. I already finished for today, but, you know, hey, I'm telling you, my fellow compatriots, you know, wake up to reality. You know, the Democrat Party is no more. It's now ruled by a communist ideology. It's a Marxist party. And under that system, a lot of people are going to die. You just better think twice before you make your decision on that voting booth. Well, this is it. Donald Trump, God bless you. You're doing a great job. I always pray for you, pray for your family, pray for my whole country. I also pray for Israel, and I'm always praying that God bless. I stand with God and Israel eternally. I also pray for the freedom of Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, China, and North Korea. See what happens. God bless you all. Bye-bye.